So the Jazz and Clippers played last night. Now, of course, this is not the most exciting matchup of all time, but what is very exciting is seeing how the Clippers handled this game. First, I want to say that all of their stars played, and they had the real starting lineup out there. And I want to talk about the fact that even though these guys, yes, the Clippers obviously did not play a full match like they would normally, they were one of the teams which actually put their stars out there for a long time. We saw their starting lineup of Russell Westbrook, shooting guard, we had Paul George, small forward Kawhi, power forward Robert Covington, center Ivica Zubac, which I believe is the best lineup that they can run if we're being 100% honest. We saw Kawhi cook, get the first points of the game. He was a great player. He had been playing a lot, doing a lot, and really focusing a lot during this game as he played 20 minutes in a preseason game, which is, if anything, a great sign for the next season. The Clippers were pretty dominant where those guys were on the court. Obviously, Paul George was also there, and he had a pretty bad game, making one shot which was 1-3 for the entire game. Thank God he at least got 5 assists and 4 rebounds, but he did have a pretty terrible game. What we saw from this game was the fact that the Clippers looked really good. They look like a team which could actually compete for everything, because even though they're not stacked like a team like the Suns, or they're not like extremely, loaded and just overwhelmingly powerful like a team like the Bucks, they are a team which has absolutely everything. They have playmakers, they have centers, they have actual centers. Having Mason Plumlee, Ivica Zubac, they have guards like Trey Mann, Bones Highland. They have players who, even though they are good, we can see the fact that they still need to work in their system. They have every single position with multiple great players, or at least good players in those positions. And we could see from this game an extreme, focus with this team on just playing and figuring out who are the best players for their team. I want to say shout out to Amir Coffey. He was getting to the line as if he was, James Harden in his prime. I also want to say shout out to, Musa Dibate. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. He, even though he is a lesser known player, he did drop 9 points this game with a lot of free throws, but that's obviously in more garbage time. But I really, who I want to point out as looking really interesting to me were 3 players. First, I want to say, obviously, shout out to Kawhi. He dropped 16 points with 40% from the field and like 45%. No, with like 45% from the field and then 40% from 3. He also had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and he just played a really good game. Kawhi showed out when it comes to like the amount of minutes that he played. And if we're being honest, he looked really good out there, really confident and really ready to, take on the game. Russell Westbrook, even though he only played 15 minutes, he did have a plus 14 plus minus, with 3 assists, 2 steals, and 5 rebounds, with one of them being offensive, basically doing everything that the team needed to do, even though he only scored 0 points. Nick Batum, he played pretty badly, but he did have a really good play with, another guy which I want to talk about, Bones Highland, which looks pretty good as a Clipper. He was shifty, he was a plus on the court, and he looked really good. I also want to say that Mason Plumlee, he looks to be a real threat out there as one of the best centers when it comes to just off the bench. And obviously, I have to shout out Robert Covington, which had a really good, effective game, having 4 blocks, 11 points, 1 3-pointer, 4 of 7 from the field, and playing 22 minutes, the most out of any one of the Clippers except Amir Coffey and Musa Dibate. And also, I also want to say shout out to Ivica Zubac, because I really liked what he did this game, because in 5 minutes he got 4 points and a rebound, and a block. So shout out to him. Now, when I looked at the Jazz, I was just really looking at what players may shine this season for them. You know, the Clippers were obviously the team on everyone's mind, but if we're being honest, we can't really put a price or a name tag on, what is going to be the most valuable asset on the Jazz that's not Lauri marketing. We saw, guys like Walker Kessler be great last season, and he is a defensive player of the year caliber player. We've seen guys like Jordan Clarkson, who is obviously their second star, and they're just dynamic scorer. And we saw guys all throughout this game like Colin Sexton, who are obviously just going to be on their team. I want to say shout out to Taylor Horton-Tucker. He dropped 24 points on 9 of 18 from the field, on 50% from the field, hitting 4 free throws and 2 threes on bad efficiency from 3. Lauri Markkinen did his thing, playing 23 minutes. And Jordan Clarkson, even though he came off the bench, he still had 12 points. And even though he didn't play that good of a game, he still found a way to impact the game. Someone who I really want to focus on for this team, though, which I found really interesting, was John Collins. I had seen him play the other day too, but I think that John Collins is one of those players who is going to be great for the team that he's in. The Jazz are a team which get to be completely free in terms of that every single one of their players can be, a player which contributes in one way or another, and they don't have to worry about players and efficiency and none of that, as they're not really looking to make the playoffs right now or be good. In my opinion, it would help for them to get a passing point guard, as since they have so many scoring options, as big men, and in the shooting guard with Jordan Clarkson, it would help to have that guy who could just get it done. But in my opinion, it is very important that we see these types of games. What I did want to talk about was the Clippers are amazing. Shout out to the Clippers. I don't know if they're going to stay healthy for a season. And I'm just saying that to be 100% honest, because the Clippers have never shown, right, that they can actually be healthy from the start of the season to when they lose a playoff series. And I mean lose it, not like deep in the playoffs. They haven't shown that yet. And in my opinion, that's been really the biggest weakness for the Clippers. They're a team which has the stars, they have the depth, they have the owner, they have the fan base, and especially with them getting a new arena, they have everything to make sure that they actually win a championship this season. But in my opinion, when we really look at a team like the Clippers, we just need to say, when are you going to be healthy? When are you going to be able to play? When are your stars going to be able to play more than 80 games and, more than 60 games? And when are they going to be able to play postseason runs and with added rest? Like a playoff game is, like you get time to rest in these playoff games, You get time to make it happen. You get time to just, be patient about this type of stuff. But when we really look at a team, like the Clippers, I don't know what they do, but it's like by the time that they get to the playoffs, right, it's like, what has happened to you? Why are you like this? And what has caused you to become such a worse team? I want to say shout out to Kawhi and PG for just going out there and playing both the amount of minutes that they did. Summer league preseason, is something which is not required for any player. We could see Dame and Giannis, which are not doing preseason right now, which I didn't really like, but I'm not going to judge them. But we can really see that these guys are invested. They want to play. And shout out to the Clippers for actually, putting their players out there and showing their fans what they wanted to see. It's been a thing recently where a lot of teams, go cheaper or they put less stars out there just so their stars can rest. But I really appreciated, the fact that they cared for the fans enough to put them out there, even if it was just 10 or 15 minutes, just so the fans could see them and really get at least a few points from them. So I want to shout out to the Clippers for that, because I got really mad at like a team like the Bucks earlier, because I was like, yo, why are you not playing your best players? You even if it's preseason, at least put them in for a bit. And I understand that they want to do this big thing where opening day is the day where they put Dame and Giannis out there, but I believe that that's ridiculous. Anyway, I will be seeing you next video, probably another preseason video if no trade breaks. And tell me what you thought about this game, and tell me what you think about the Clippers making the playoffs and potentially being a championship caliber team this year.